Why do leaders focus less on giving feedback and more on helping people receive it? In organisations around the world, feedback has become less and less. And despite being widely recognised as a tool for growth, it's still met with fear, resistance, or increasingly total avoidance. Whistleblower hotlines are now standard practice, but their very existence highlights the truth. Feedback in most organisations has failed. If people truly felt safe giving and receiving feedback as a routine part of work, there'd be no need for anonymous reporting systems. And yet, these systems are often seen as progressive. In reality, they're a symptom of something deeper. When Barclays CEO attempted to uncover the identity of an internal whistleblower, he ultimately had to resign as a result. The message was loud and clear. Feedback, if handled poorly, becomes radioactive. The real problem isn't that people are unwilling to give feedback. It's that they've learned it's risky. Risky to give, riskier still to receive. And what most feedback models miss is for years the leadership development world has focused on how to give feedback, structure, timing, tone, but far too little attention has been given to how people receive it. Breakthrough Change, we've worked with organisations that have openly invited feedback, only to recoil when that feedback is inconvenient. They don't want to hear it. In one recent case, we were asked to provide honest reflections on a high-profile leader's performance. Feedback we gave was constructive, well-evidenced, and also positive in places. It was balanced, but it triggered a defensive response at the top, and we were promptly asked to leave. That kind of reaction is rarely about ego alone. It's about fear. Fear of exposure, fear of loss of control, fear of what others might think. But in protecting reputations, these leaders cost their organisations something far more valuable: the chance to improve. The real feedback process, what we've seen that works, and it changes how we handle feedback. We must first understand how it actually works. Receiving feedback isn't one action. It's a three-part process. I'll take you through that process. Number one is receiving, the moment feedback enters our awareness. Number two is perceiving, the mental frame we place around it. And number three is act, the behaviours that results. So receive, perceive and act. The trouble starts when perception blocks action. If the recipient sees feedback as criticism, attack or judgment on them, they'll defend. They might even reject it or retaliate. But if they view it as data, as something useful, the dynamic changes completely. So sometimes we've got to strengthen that feedback muscle. Receiving feedback well is not about perfection. It's about practice. Like any muscle, it grows through regular use. If we seek and receive feedback and act on it, we learn from it. Here's a method we coach leaders to use when receiving feedback. Thank the person. Even if it's hard to hear what they've just said about you, gratitude opens the door to honesty. Ask for more. Can you give me an example? How did that land for you? And the thing about that when we're asking it is be non-judgmental in our tone of voice. Be genuine. I really want to know, can you give me an example? I want to work hard at changing this. And check your filter. Pause your inner voice and assume that it's positive intent, even if the person you know from past experience. Just see what happens when you view it as positive, as it's something that you can work on. And stay curious. Feedback, it's a perception, not a fact, but it's a useful perception. It's how somebody's perceiving you, and they've been kind enough to actually share it with you. For no matter what the reason is, they've just been kind enough to share it. And act, however small. Say sorry if that's appropriate, adjust a habit, reframe your message. Show that the feedback meant something. If organisations taught this as actively as they teach frameworks for giving feedback, the entire culture would shift. We teach about giving feedback, but we rarely teach about receiving it. Feedback is strategic for us. If you want to build a high-performance organisation, make feedback normal, make it safe. Normal means regular, not reserved for crisis or annual reviews, but something we do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. It's just something we do. Make it safe, meaning it won't be punished, it won't be politicised, it won't be ignored. Because in the absence of honest feedback, dysfunction grows, not always loudly, but steadily. The Chernobyl disaster, the Mid-Staffordshire NHS scandal, the case of Lucy Letby, all were exacerbated by cultures where speaking up felt either futile or even dangerous. And at its best, feedback accelerates performance. At its worst, the absence destroys it. The difference isn't how leaders speak, it's how they listen and how they choose to act.